today's live, I would like to go over a quick overview of what we're going to be not only talking about, but what to be expecting here within the XRP technical analysis, going over Bitcoin, and also looking at a couple of the different metrics here within the heat signature maps and things like that. But more than looking at the data today, we're going to be looking at things in real time, because right now XRP's formed a V-shaped recovery. Excuse me. And we have this, what looks like, we had an exhaustion candle earlier, which allowed the price to consolidate, and it came down to form a V-shaped recovery. Now, if you look at this in the smaller time frames, what I was looking and hoping to see was when we had this retracement, it would hold and form this. We have this little V-shape that down forms the V, back down for support. And now if we bounce out of this, this was a beautiful V-shaped recovery, and this could lead to some very higher ambitions here, at least back up. And I'm not saying it's anything crazy, but at first level, you come up and retest 5610 area, and it should work its way up, at least weasel its way up partly through this exhaustion wick. So that's what we're looking to see in this live, if that actually does play out, or if this V-shaped recovery gives it back. That's what we're looking at right now. So Maggie, welcome in, and thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate seeing you in the audience. Chance, welcome. UK Phil, good evening, along with Mark Cass, and thank you both for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Let's see. John, good evening, my friend. Hope you're having a blessed evening. Sully, welcome in. Jorge, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your 2nd month with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. Really appreciate that. You're welcome for the HBAR update. Now, hopefully it plays out, but not all bull flags play out, so we shall see. We shall see, but it's very much in the midst of one right now. Sully Mode, welcome. Mark Caston, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 6 months plus with the XP Predictor, along with Vincent. Thank you both so much. I appreciate that. It's a pretty exciting evening. So for the early ones in here, sorry, I was back and forth before I started, and now I talk so much that I forgot to take a breath. But for everybody watching, do you think XRP, and hit the like button if you think so, do you think we're going to break up out of this V-shaped recovery, or are we going to start to give it back now and invalidate this recovery? I would love to hear. Would love to hear. Lee, welcome in. Tadaz, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. Greatly appreciate that. DJRC, Syrian, Man and His Dog. The one is in my candle, so I can't see that name. Sometimes it gets blurred in the candlesticks, unfortunately. But Man and His Dog, Syrian, thank you both for being in Tom's Army for 3 months plus with the XRP Meteor. I greatly appreciate that. And Syrian, thank you for being a very trusted mod. Tom, make me money with the copy. Well, only temporarily right now, because if this gives it back, my friend, we'll lose our gains, because right now we're riding this pattern. So if it gives this pattern back, well, unfortunately, it would invalidate it, and it would probably eat away the our gains we have right now. Right now we have gains, yes, but that's something we don't even talk about for the most part. And hey, because it could play down right here, and then your gains turn to returns. Much like the gambling house works. So we'll see if it plays out, but I do like this V-shaped recovery. This is what I like to look at and see if things will play out. Oh, I know you don't care, Man and His Dog, because at the end of the day, it's like $20-something if it came through. So, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? But I am looking at this from just a general standpoint to see if this V-shape will actually play out. It looks like it wants to try, but with the markets are so volatile like they are right now, we're coming up to the daily close. We're going to learn a lot here. And I would like to see it play out. Somebody brought up HBAR. I talked about the bull flag here that looks like we could have an imminent breakout here with the HBAR, and the top side return here is about 18%. Now, again, it could give it back, and it could, we could inverse ourselves, or we could just not play this out, and maybe it does come back down. Maybe we do have a farther sell-off. But the bull flag in itself, if it plays out, it looks like a pretty prototypical one as well. So if it did play out, it would be about an 18% return. However, if you're watching this, you have to watch around the 479 area. If it breaks that structure, it would invalidate that part of the thesis. So, we're in a very tricky spot here, but not just with XRP or Bitcoin or HBAR, just the whole crypto market as a whole. After such a volatile swing up, it's still trying, and Bitcoin looks like a bull flag is formed here. So unless it invalidates the structure, it looks like a small bull flag formed. However, if it pulls down, we could certainly see something a little bit bigger here, maybe a Batman top, who knows. But with how far it came up, I still wanted to see it hit that target of 78,609. It doesn't seem to make any sense not to come up there. But, when you're trading crypto or when you're looking at this kind of this particular class, nothing seems to make sense sometimes. So, there's strong liquidity up there at that area I just talked about. It seems unbelievable that Bitcoin would leave that liquidity there if it was planning on coming down. So I would be shocked if it doesn't grab that. There's like 300 or 400 million and a bunch of different sections there around 77,600, 78,000, 77,000. I mean, it's such a big area of liquidity that I would be stunned if it doesn't grab that area. But, I've been stunned before in crypto. And as we all know, with Bagelgate, I experienced some of the highest of highs, and with Bagelgate, the lowest of lows. So you never quite can tell where it's going to go in cryptocurrency. But what we can do is take it from a positive approach. We can try to learn the fundamentals and try to give us the best chance to succeed. And, at the end of the day, because the technicals, if you see the formation break, maybe a $25 loss saves you from a $130 loss. Maybe by seeing that formation more times than not, maybe it plays out. But one of the times you get caught up in it, but because you see it in front of you, you can capitalize with a minimalistic loss instead of, blowing the whole portfolio kind of thing. But for the record, somebody brought up leverage trading. I have literally about 2 to 3% of my portfolio. That's it in leverage trading. So it's not like I'm going high stakes on it. This is just something that I do from time to time. I'll see a formation set up and I'll see what happens. This one, I was hoping to see this thing play out the whole way. And I could have sold out. I could sell out and stay out and, have a 21% return right now overall. But I really wanted to see this play out. So, So now I want to see if this inverse head and shoulders plays out. And overall, I want to see if the market's going to give it back now, because we did give ourselves an exhaustion wick. I still think it should come up a little bit more, though. Even if this was bearish, there's still a lot of potential up there that they could grab. Hey, Tom, do you think the donation to Harris campaign will affect XRP and Ripple moving forward since Trump won? No. Because Ripple was backing both candidates. You're talking about one individual out of Ripple. That wasn't Ripple as a company. That was Chris Larson that was supporting. They were playing both sides of the aisle is what I believe. But I don't think it affects them in the least. Just as many people that were, you had money going into Trump's side as well. It just wasn't as publicized. Mark, thank you so much for the $2 donation. I really, really appreciate that, my friend. Really, really appreciate that. So yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested to see how this plays out right now. And I think it's cool that we're all here together. So I'll do the I'll do the, Julie, did I do the intro yet and timestamp this?
I don't think so.
Or have I just been rambling on for 10 minutes? Oh boy. So only timestamp this, everybody, so that I should have done this a lot sooner. How unprofessional of me. But please make sure to hit that like button so YouTube does recommend this update. This live. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. It helps us push through the analytics, and I'll be recommended. And then more people can see the content. And if you are in here, remember, we don't play the victim here. We're not the victim here. We never have been, and we never will be in this community. We play the winner because we are the winner. So we have to have all the evidence for us from a news and charting perspective so we can make an educated and informed decision, and we can see where the charts are most likely to go. Like, these are the most dangerous times with the most volatile but the most fun to watch, because this is where did the pattern come to fruition? Is the pattern breaking down? Are we going to have the continuation? But did the government, by saying that they're going to create a Bitcoin reserve, basically, which is insane, but they said they're going to create a Bitcoin reserve, and that's not Trump saying it. You guys need to go look at the news and come back and tell me when you know and what your thoughts are later. But it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. So is that going to catapult crypto up higher? And if you've been paying attention real quick, gold, silver, commodities, Fortuna Silver Mines offered a fantastic opportunity today. It had great earnings. I took advantage of it. And I don't know if it's going to break down right now, but if it does, it's going to be interesting because if it breaks down from here with the earnings it had, it makes it interesting. So it looks like with Fortuna, at least, it looks like they had great earnings, and that should propel them up. So we will see in the days to come. But I did buy when they had that overzealous sell-off in the morning trading session, and when it came down to $4.57. So I couldn't resist. Like, there was an overzealous, I think it was $4.50. Whatever it was, we had an overzealous sell-off. That was Wednesday. It might have been right here. Maybe it was a little bit higher, 460 something, 464 maybe. But there was an overzealous sell-off after the earnings. That initially went up 5.5, and then it gave it all back. And I'm sitting here like, what is going on here? And it actually gave it back and then some. And then with B2 Gold this morning, I wasn't planning on doing it, but I couldn't resist. I'm sitting here, and it does this. And I'm like, I'm waiting for 287. It came down to 293, so I bought it. And when I did it, filled at $2.95. I wasn't going to pass that up. I in good faith, I couldn't do it. So that was what I did with the metals positions, just so you know. And, you know, I was able to gain a few more shares. I sold 3,000 B2 Gold. I was able to buy back 3,104. So, yeah, so I feel pretty good about that. And then I think with Fortuna, there's like 1,100. So I like what I see, but, you know, it could continue going down. But when they cut rates again today, and that's another thing we'll get into, we had a rate cut today, and that's bullish for commodities and precious metals, technically. Nothing technical about how the charts are moving right now, but that's technically speaking. So thank you all so much for viewing. I really appreciate it. Let me do the intro. Good evening. 6:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, November 7th, 2024. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Oh yeah, Gary's going to get investigated. He sure is. The Gatmen, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. In time here, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get a move at some time. With and it's gonna end up excuse me, it's gonna end up being sooner rather than later, I think, in XRP Healthcare. And I'm gonna show you why it's tightening up, and I can actually make this look a lot better now that we've had a little bit more play out. Wales, Josie Wales, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. I love it. Diamus, welcome. Thank you, my friend. JW, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. That's incredible. We have a lot of people tuning in here that have been, or at least a lot of people that have been in Tom's Army for a while. That's awesome. So if we actually look at this, I like to look at like these trends that form, and I like to come outside. So we had a wick down, and we can see something like that. So if we're looking at XRP Healthcare and we're trying to get it into like a more minute understanding, like, hey, when can this actually break? Or can we actually get out of this formation? Well, it kind of is. It kind of is getting out of this formation. Because it was coming down like this. So technically, the reason why I wanted to get into it right away is I knew it was getting close to the breakout. Last time when we talked, we kind of were still consolidating. But look at that. So technically, you know, we're kind of on borrowed time here. Like, what's going to happen here? Is XRP Healthcare going to break out here now? Because we could. We certainly could. I'd feel more comfortable cutting this up just a little bit. Just because I have it coming from the longer way, so we don't want to over-exaggerate how big this move could be. And if you just time it from there, I mean, you're looking at like 2.6 on the short end. But if you start breaking back up in this kind of fashion, you know, we have a bigger move here. We have a much bigger move, and it could bring us right back up to retest that 3.7 cents. I started buying this at 1.7 cents, so, you know, it's going to take a while. This would be a 17.7% move if this plays out. But it is getting onto the breakout side of this consolidation. So, and it's tightening up big time. Devin, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge and being a very trusted mod. You asked me about Kanto, but I can't trade it anywhere. Like, I don't even know really what it is. And when I looked into it earlier, I don't know. I don't know what the hell it is, to be honest. So, I don't know what it is. I know it's only on a couple that I've seen. I mean, it looks like it, as long as, just when I'm looking at this from the short end, as long as the market doesn't pull back, it's got a setup here as long as it doesn't lose this 164. And it should play back up, but the market's so volatile right now. It had an inverted hammer candle on the one before this. And it looks like it should play back up here a little bit, but nothing's guaranteed. But it definitely looks like it formed a quick W reversal. And a lot of these look like it wants to retest the breakout. And this was on a downward trajectory, and it did break out of this. Same thing here. Downward trajectory, broke out. And now it's trying to do the same here, and it should retest higher up. First level that it's going to have to get past would be 2247, and then it's going to have to work back up in this area. But I'll try to come back to this because I know some of you are interested, but I really need to pay attention to, I want to pay attention in the time I have here with the development of, I want to see how the crypto market plays out here in the next like 25, 30 minutes. Let's go, let's take a look at this evening. And thank you to the 84 of you that are tuning in. I really appreciate that. 45 likes. Please make sure to hit that like button. We got about half hitting the like button. That does help me push through the analytics so that I can have a much wider audience base. And it's an awesome thing. So Bitcoin, if we look at it in the short term, Bitcoin still has some liquidity to grab. It's just a matter if it's going to come get it. Just a matter if it's going to come get it because, you know, it's got to come. We've got a small flag here that could bring us back up. But I really thought, or I'm really thinking that Bitcoin should. And, you know, nothing's guaranteed. You know, nothing's guaranteed. So let me pull this out into the, might make it a little bit easier on the weekly. Because we can see this liquidation zone that it's so close to. And it'd be a bit surprising if it doesn't grab it. And it's a glaring one. Right around here, there's 387 million at 77,150. But look at 76,950. That's like the big area. At 76,950, you've got about 489 million in liquidity. So if we look at the price, that's not that far from where we're at. You know, Bitcoin, for it to go, that's only 1,000 points from here. So if we went up 1,000 points from here, and that's only about 1.2%, it could grab 435 million in liquidity. And then if it goes up another 0.75%, it'll grab about another 600 total million. So it could grab upwards of 1 billion in liquidity by going up about anywhere between 15 and 1,800 points right here. It could grab over 1 billion in liquidity, easy. And then it could give it the power that it needs to break down. Angela, welcome in, says, finally caught another live. I'm glad to see you in here. I'm glad you caught another live. Makes me happy. But what does everybody think about what I'm seeing here in front of me? Does that make sense? Am I off base? Do we think it's going to break down without having any kind of retest? You know? But those are the reasons why I'm thinking that it's going to... Bitcoin, I'd be stunned if it leaves those people there. If it leaves them, they all better be blessed here if it does break down. They should feel very blessed. Crazy Paul, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 2 months with the XRP, with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. Greatly appreciate that. And it does look like a small bull flag is formed here, so We'll see if it carries out. We'll see if it carries out or pulls down. But it does seem to be a long consolidation that should bring us up. And I would still say that 78,900 range. But if it breaks down, like if Bitcoin hardcore breaks down, we already know where that's going. Let's just say if this reverses on us and the pattern's over, we got to wait for this to load. But it's a very glaring 1.23 billion liquidation zone. Very glaring. And because there's no liquidation to grab really in here, I believe that if it did break down, and I was hoping it would grab it before this whole thing happened on the move up. Let's see. I want to get to the exact spot. Whoops. Sometimes we seem to have problems with this map. Like the feedback is weird. All right, let's see. 64,500 seems to be the biggest area. Let's see. Right there. 64,650. There's 1.23 billion. There's several billion of liquidity down there. If you come down to like 60, if you come down to that 64,650 area, you're grabbing several billion dollars just in like a 300 point swing. There's a lot of liquidity there. So if we break down, that's where we'd be going. But that still looks like a bull flag trying to play up one more level. And then even on the outskirts there, that looks like a bull flag set up from the initial move. The technical target here, even the short target out of this megaphone pattern on the cup and handle consolidation on Bitcoin, the initial short target after breaking the all-time highs around 73,800 area and holding that, which we did, and we even back tested the breakout of the megaphone. The technical first target here is 78,000, I believe 800 and some change. So we're not even there yet, but it would satisfy the need for all of this liquidity. It really would. Look at that. There's 373 million at 77, 412 million at 76,950, 70. I mean, look at all of that. There's several billion dollars that it could grab just by going up less than 2,000 points. I find it hard to believe, but at the same time, it's Bitcoin. So who the heck really knows? Whoops. Who really knows? Because it could roll over on us too. Whoops, I didn't mean to exit the map. The map was suggesting that it might have moved up a little bit, so I was having fun looking at it. The candlestick was starting to work in our favor. See what happened? Started to flip a little green here. It's like flipping. It doesn't know what to do. It's trying to push back blue or green. And the 3-day, the monthly is flipping. But I mean, you guys see that liquidity. So now with XRP, since we're here, I love doing this, by the way. I like, should we? I wonder if, all right, let's look through this first, and then let's see something. So XRP's open interest is still on our side. It's up 5.52% of the day, which means we've got more interest with XRP, whether it's the perpetual or the futures market. You know, there's money coming in, which is what we need. We need money coming in. So, that's a good sign. So right now, we've got an open interest, 582.2 million overall at 5.52%. And the funding rates are still positive. Liquidations right now. Smashing in Texas, welcome in. Aiden, good evening. Thank you all for being in here. I really appreciate it. Feels like there's quite a bit of people. Yeah, 93 people here. I wasn't expecting that many in here. I really wasn't. You know, today's more of a speculative day, so it makes it a little difficult for some. Liquidations, we had 2.9 million overall in the last 24 hours, 1.2 million long, 1.7 million liquidations and shorts. That's what we needed for a continued move up. If we wanted to continue move up, we needed to liquidate the longs and the shorts. And we got them both. We liquidated 1.2 million when we went from 58 to about that 53.9 cent area. And it liquidated 1.2 million in long. So that was a heavy long liquidation, but it's starting to swing back in the favor of where we want it. And the long to short ratio, it continues to tighten ever so slightly. 2.38 to 1 in the 5 minute, 70.37% to 29.63% going short. In the 30 minute, the 1 hourly, and the 4 hourly, We're at a 2.37 to 1. 70.34% are going long, and 29.66% are going short, which is awesome. You know, it's nice to see that kind of data right there, just so we can get a, you know, kind of like a little heads up of what's coming. And it's interesting. It's interesting because there's still a long, strong hold on the ones who are going long. And then the crypto fear and greed index is skyrocketing. But honestly, if you get into these bullish pushes like this, you get into extreme greed for some time. And then as it stays in extreme greed or greed for a longer time, more people are willing to buy into the market. You've got a lot of greed. So as the price goes up, more and more greed builds up for the eventual collapse. But it doesn't necessarily strike me as us being there yet. You know, now if it reverses on us, we lose some of these setups. Well, obviously, we know we've got strong liquidation zone, and I've been the first to point it out. But I'm also going to be the first to point out that, you know, until it's over, it's not over, and it's very dangerous to try to predict the top or do this and that before the top's actually in. So we'll see how this plays out. But I'm very intrigued, honestly. And we've got some data here to work with. So let's keep that up and let's take a quick look at Bitcoin here. So I mean, we've basically been stuck since we started this live. For the last half hour, Bitcoin's been going between 75,680 and about 75,900. XRP was down to like 55.18 at one point. I think this is about as high as it's been at 55.35. I can't remember it going much higher than this. So we haven't moved much. It's just been in a tight range. XLM right now is up 4.7%, which is nice to see. It's back within a very key area. I mean, XLM right now, just like XRP, could be teasing a massive breakout. Look at that inverse setup. That's a massive inverse setup, honestly. That's a huge inverse setup. Could be an interesting time for XLM, folks. That could be an interesting time for XLM. You know what? That's not properly measured. I'm going to be honest. I don't think that's right. We came all the way back here. That's a huge base. Yeah, that's definitely not right. Wow, look at that. That brings us right up to this resistance. The market is teasing a much bigger breakout here, folks. Like that, I'm trying to play into this breakout because it does appear that if these play out, like there's some 25, 30% that could be left on some of these assets. Like that, look at XLM. Why do you got to do this to me right now? I thought I had it all figured out in my head what I wanted to do. Boom. Boom. Shit. That's the spot that I've been waiting for. Unless that's a fake out. And XLM is mine as well. And that's supposed to be the point where I buy the 10,000 tokens. At that exact moment when it does that. How does somebody know? How did they? Somebody said you're about to spend money. How would they possibly know that, Julie? And they're right, I am. That's the biatch part. Sorry, excuse my French. I'm telling myself right now with a mental note, you know what you said. I know what I said, brain. I know what I said. I do know what I said. Hello, Tanya. Good evening, love, and thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. The fact that XLM is breaking out of a very long descending formation and it could send us up like 20-something%. That's about it. Now, obviously, all things can be fake outs as well. But that consolidation's been going on for a while. Since April of this year, that consolidation's been going on for XLM. That is insane. Insane. I sold it 60% ago. And now it's actually for the first time said, listen, you remember what you said, and it's got a very similar setup to XRP. That's why XRP to me, too, when you look at it, It's kind of like, hello, everybody. Why are you so scared? You've been waiting all this time. And yeah, I have to get over 57, guys. I understand that. But why are you so scared? Look at this. You've got a huge flag here that just had this little bit of a breakdown that pulled itself right back up, almost an illusion. But for the first time in 7 years, it's actually riding this as support. Like, this is speaking to a very big breakout coming. The charts are saying, what the hell is going on, Tom? Like, what are you afraid of? Canto, same way, was at 68 cents. Where was that at now? I'll have to go back. But yeah, that's my current mindset right now. Like, what is going on? What to do, where to do it, how to do it, when to do it, and the way to do it. You know, it's interesting. That's all I'm gonna say. It's interesting. I'm just taking a look at something very quickly. So how many of you in the audience own XLM? Just out of curiosity. I'm just curious. Mark does, Tanya does. Tom is getting effing pumped. Been a while. Well, it's not that I see something developing on all the charts, and we've only had one of the two layers of this move, and Bitcoin's technical target's higher. So unless it invalidates all of this, which it could, but you know, I've been sitting on roughly it's like $1,200, but I sold XLM and it pained my heart at 16 cents, and I only did it, you know, because I was investing in different commodities and I took the profit, and that paid off well. But I kept enough, and seems to be the spot because I have more than enough to cover the 10,000 tokens, and it's almost like, you know, you feel it sometimes. You can feel the calling sometimes. You know, Julie? Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right? Okay. So I'm looking at this, and I can technically buy. I feel you, Tom. Tom, I'm scared too, but I just bought XLM. It looked too good. I know. So I agree with that, actually. Oh, thank you so much, trading with J Ride, for that $10 donation. I really appreciate that. I'm sorry for taking time. I'm trying to show you guys my thought process in real time. And I mean, that it looks like it's trying. Obviously, it's been a big rise up. We've come down. It could come down to 10 cents maybe. But now you're splitting hairs, because if Bitcoin does make this move, there's not going to be a whole lot of time for a consolidation here. But if it falls through, and yeah, it's scary. It's a very scary spot here. That is for sure. You know, there's no doubt about that. It's not like when you start looking at things, you're like, when's the most ideal spot? Well, sometimes a pattern just ends up forming and it catches you, like Bitcoin. That still has an area that we know the technical targets. It's my own technical analysis that's killing me right now, because my own analysis is screaming at me saying, you know where Bitcoin's going, like, you know where it's going. Like, yeah, so you can't have 80,000 HBAR. You got to get rid of, like, you know, 30,000 of them or whatever to get your money back so you can do it. after a minimal gain on some of it, which is fine because it's fine because just from the perspective of mental clarity. So I could have, and I have to do this in real time, otherwise I can't do it at all. So I can have, I believe 48,742 HBAR, which I already bought. It was just up a tiny bit. And then I can have, then you can have your cake and eat it too, because then I wouldn't have to worry about anything else. So let's see what we got going here. So let me get into the XLM. And you know it's a spot trade, so XLM from 16 down to 10.2, 10.1. That's not a terrible separation at least. So here we go. Julie? What do you think? Do I take this? The risk too, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching and it breaks down, you know, if it broke down these levels, the risk is, there's a little bit of risk here. It's not like crazy big, but in a spot position, you know, you're talking about a risk of, oh, that's nothing. Never mind. Continue on, I'm buying it. You're talking about like a $28 risk. Never mind, everybody. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. I thought we were talking about something more. So I have enough for 15,580 XLM. So I have enough for that many XLM. Yeah, so I thought we were talking about a bigger risk here. Nothing to see here. Like, literally. That's nothing. That is not... Oh, I'm sorry. I was a little bit off. 14,687, I think it ends up being. Well, I wouldn't have overanalyzed it if I knew it was only that big of a risk. So, yeah, it filled. So, 15,518 XLM. There we go. So, at least now I've got that back in my bag. So, but yeah, that's something that everybody who's watched me knows. I buy things for a reason at certain spots. But it does feel like we still have a ways to go. I mean, we've done the first layer. And it looks like we need another layer. It really, really does. So basically it's, hey, I'm going with 48,000 HBAR. I'm going with 15,000 plus XLM. I've got my 15,000 XRP already. I've got 60-something thousand XRP Healthcare. I don't know what else. I've got my commodities. But I've got a pretty interesting way of doing this. 17 days of Bitcoin rising. I mean, we seem to be in a pretty interesting spot. Pretty interesting spot. I wouldn't choose to have it any other way, though. I love these moments. I love these moments, and I hope everybody, you know, has a little bit of fun watching me do this in real time. Because there's no right or wrong answer. You know, there's no right or wrong way of doing this. The only right answer is you buy the spot when you're actually investing in a position. Crypto Raider, things are going to explode. I mean, it certainly gives us the illusion because Bitcoin, and yeah, it could be an explosion here just to come back down, but Bitcoin is definitely taking the up route here, and there's more distance here than not to give you some hope here. And again, I'm going to run this back for everybody if you're new. Bitcoin was in a big cup and handle. It broke the megaphone, and we've got targets here. These aren't just yellow lines on your screen. These actually are for a reason. And I'm not saying that to like insult. I'm saying it just so everybody knows. Like, I didn't just put these on here for some reason, you know, for no reason. But let me get the arrow out. So we've got resistance here, right? So that was the 73,697. We broke that. First, we hit it, back tested, which made me very excited when we did that. That's when I'm like, holy smokes. Like, if this actually plays out, you know. So then after the back test, our first target now is 78,609. The fact we haven't hit that yet leaves me with a lot of, and it's actually, let's see. Let me put this in the exact spot because when I put these out, Bitcoin hadn't made the move. So we were drawing and speculating on this for so long when it was actually going to happen. So right here, So 78,254, and then we can go from there because now we know the actual targets, right? No reason to speculate. See how subtly different they are, because these were after all speculation, but now they're not. Now they're not. Already? Is he really? It's not even 7 o'clock. Oh, good boy. My son just fell asleep, but he had a long day. He had his school and what was today? Speech therapy, Julie, we were at? Yeah, speech therapy. But he did very good, very well. His actual speech therapist, she had a baby. I mean, his physical therapist that he usually sees on Mondays, she actually had her baby, which is nice to know. But anyhow, the first target here, as we can see, of 3, or the second target, I mean, the first target is 73,697, which we hit. We bounced off of, came back to consolidate on the breakout of the megaphone on the cup and handle, which is the handle formation at 67,735. Broke above 73,697. We're able to hold it, and now we're trying to break up to that 78,254, which is the biggest target here. Right now, we're trying to fight too for the daily close. Bitcoin is looking to close above the previous candle wick high at 76,594. We've had a very bullish candle so far, but it would be awesome if Bitcoin could find 450 points here. You know, it would be awesome. And for anybody who understands trading, how awesome would that be if it could pull another 400 points here? It's not crazy to think it could do that in a 15-minute burst. But it seems to be firmly trying to close over 76. And the good news here today, too, about this is we did come down an awfully big way earlier. Just from the top, at least. When we started the day, we started at 76,482. And we worked our way all the way down about 2,000 points here. 2,100 points. So that was a big correction. And now we've worked our way back up. Looks like an inverted hammer candle. It looks more like an inverted hammer right now than it does a reversal candle. But, I mean, like I said, we're in an interesting spot here for the daily close. Like, if we could pull up a few hundred points, oh, man, would that be great. Not saying it's bad. We have a fully engulfed candle here, basically, on the top half, and we've barely given any of it back. This would close way up here. I'm thinking this weekend may be a bit special. It might be. It might be. And like when they announced the Bitcoin reserve, that's where you have to, you know, be like, uh-oh, something bigger's happening. And that's why, like with XLM, I told myself, I've told the audience this many times since April. Yes, I sold it, but the moment it breaks over that consolidation, and I feel like this is something more, and the general consensus backs it, I didn't know that I was going to be here at this exact moment and be like, oh, shish kebabs, here we come. Because now we can essentially say, if the lower targets are invalidated, for every reaction, there's an opposite reaction. So instead of the reaction going down being up, now the opposite reaction is we are likely going to get a push if this plays true to 12.7 cents instead of a drop down to 6.8 or 7 cents or anything like that. The way this just set up in front of our very eyes is very, very, very telling. And the reason why I have it set up the way I do is because we're trying to hit this wick right here. Because this is, watch. And man, I can see this with XLM. I know everybody else can, especially the amount of people that are buying it in the, or have bought it or have bought it. Look at this. Now it's breaking up, but it's like, well, what is that, Tom? That looks so stupid. Well, yeah, it might. But when you start to tighten this up, watch how special this actually is. If it actually does break out from here, we're getting all the signals. Drop, support, resistance, drop out, slingshot back, down, down, back up, down, back up, down, around, slingshot back up. And this time could be the time that pulls it up into the new region. And the cool thing about this, if it did that, look how this would look. Inverse, head, and shoulders playing out. Sounds good. Are the girls about to get in the shower soon? Or Scarlett, I mean. Okay. Sounds good. We are 44 minutes into this live. 101 people are still here. Excellent. Thank you so much for that. So yeah, that's my assessment right now on XLM. It's trending towards a breakout here, folks. It's trending towards a breakout. XRP is trending towards the next move up as well. Bitcoin is trying to print some of this. Now we're up to 76,123. We talked about if we get to 76,400, it'd be huge. Be huge. And the crazy thing is with the consolidation today, you know, tomorrow doesn't have to be a consolidation day. Today looked like it was going to be a consolidation day. And here in the last 6 hours now, we've exploded back to the top side, which is phenomenal to see. It's phenomenal to see. Like, it really does make me like, this is great. Because how long have we sat here, ladies and gentlemen, and we're like, you know, it's great being patient and all, but it'd really be nice if we had a little bit of movement in this market, right? And I agree. I really do agree. You know, I agree. But I have a feeling in time, in our due time, things will happen. But let's just see how this plays out, because there is still a very real chance that you have to watch your portfolio and you have to make sure that things don't unwind on you, because we're in a very volatile state. So I'll be excited to watch this as we go along. I will be very excited. HBAR right now at 4912, not bad. Same thing as XLM. HBAR, as Tanya knows, I talked about a positioning that I would buy it back. It had to give me a reason why, and I got my reason why. And it might break down, but when it set up that bull flag, and it's an 18% move up to 5729 roughly, and I had this set up, but you're just looking for a reason. You're looking for a reason. I wasn't asking, but I was looking for an opportunity. If it did break out right here, and HBAR is one Tanya knows, I was very hard for me to sell it at, what was it? It was hard pressed for me to sell it at like 15, what was that, like 15 cents? And now where it's sitting, it's like, it's very hard for me not to buy it, but I'm waiting for that exact moment. And that bull flag setting up like that intrigued me enough to where I was like, you know what? Let me see if we get that next hit, because I thought it was forming. Right when it did this and pulled up, I didn't even wait. I did like 4824, I think it was. And I just said, I don't care. I'm buying it from the bottom, and then I'll see what happens. And that's basically what it is. And this is a gigantic first layer bull flag that generally you won't see just break down. You won't generally see this breakdown only because it created a bull flag within what could be perceived as a W. But what's the most important part about that setup? It created before the bull flag, or within the bull flag consolidation. That's what created the V-shaped recovery. So, but you know, in crypto, a lot can say we are early before the digital era. We've been doing this together for almost 4 years now. We've made a lot of money if you've done it the way I have. You know, more than I would have made in my everyday life. Let's just put it that way. By finding crypto and precious metals and stuff. Adam, yes, shoot away. You can ask a question for sure. For sure. MC Prosperity says, no fear. That's right. We got this. And MC Prosperity was the biggest of skeptics here, just like I was when it wasn't time. But right now is the first sign that, you know, the Bitcoin dominance has shot up there so much that at some point it's going to wriggle its way into the altcoins. But am I still nervous that this isn't the right time? Yeah, because Bitcoin didn't get that massive liquidity. But I do know we've got the targets that it looks like it needs to fill out here. Even if it's bearish, I don't see why it wouldn't come to 77,500 or 77K at least. It doesn't seem to make any sense. It's only like I was saying, between 1,100 and 1,700 point move from here would fill out this whole thing. It would fill this out. Yeah, I've looked into meme coins on the ledger. I mean, the only thing that I hold, and I don't really consider it a meme coin, I have XRP Healthcare. I have 100,000 XRP now. Is it risky to sell my total bag now to hopefully buy in? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's risky. It is sure risky, especially at a time like this. I mean, you could take the chance, but it is really risky to do it right here. It's going to be very risky. I wouldn't advise it. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm not going to say to do that. I mean, right now we're only at 55. Maybe if it was at 80 and we were looking at a downward trajectory. If you're content with your bag now, I would just let it hold. I mean, I wouldn't be doing anything. Because I'm content. Even if we crash, Everything that I have right now in spot, besides like XRP and the XRP Healthcare, I don't have any problem of just being like, you know what? I bought it a little early. I'll sell it out on BITUNIX. There's barely any fees anyhow. And then I just rewatch. But right now, this is purely because we've set up bull flags across most of the market. And sometimes it is a setup. Sometimes just like you get a V-shape recovery, you get the opposite on the other end. But yeah, you're welcome, Adam. And like for me, my crypto money that I have and stuff, I try not to have it ever something that's linked to my real world use. So I don't want to have anything that I need to sell immediately. But not saying there hasn't been cases where I do it. But so yeah, that's what I'm thinking, everybody. But I'm gonna have to get going here. It's been over 50 minutes. Got the kids here. I got a couple minutes left here. What did Adam say? Got to donate real quick. Be right back. Oh, wow. Bless your heart if you do donate. But we are winding down here. So I got about a couple minutes left here. We usually do it until about 7 o'clock. So we can get right to the daily close so we can see where we close. So yeah, once the daily close happens, though, I'm going to be heading out and got to take care of business here. Yep. Spend time with Julie. She is the best. She said forget the rest. That's true. That's true. How can I argue? I'm most important. You are most important. Even XRP on the and this hasn't happened for a long time. Even on the analytics, it's saying a strong buy now. I can't even remember the last time it said that. City Talent. Thank you so much for the $10 donation. I think that is a beautiful donation. You are welcome, my friend. Thank you for that $10 donation. Nope. I did not end the live yet. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. JW said forget the rest. With a heart. Oh. Yep. Do you think XRP gonna wick 45 cents? I mean, I want to say because of where we're at, I would like to see XRP finish this and at least tap this pattern at 59, 58, something. But yeah, I could see 47.7 area if we rotate back down. And the reason for that is, and right now it doesn't seem to be done yet, but I mean, you do have an exhaustion wick. So that's why I said I always am cautiously optimistic. But yeah, if it came down, we did hit with a rising channel would have been. If it, let's say we double top here, even if we come up here and we double top, let's say, because this does look like a small bull flag with the V-shaped recovery. Let's say it comes up here and gets hammered, right? Then I could see us coming down to that 46.6 now, and that would be around November 11th if it was in that time frame. So yeah, I mean, I could see it. I'm definitely keep that in my blind eye for for this to possibly happen. So, and that's why I keep pointing out to everybody that liquidation zone on Bitcoin. It seems like we would want to get some higher liquidation. Yeah. Oh yeah, Adam. I appreciate that. I figured that was you. I appreciate that. I do. And I look forward to seeing you here in future TA as well. I do. I think we're building a very nice group in here. Very positive group. A very well-informed group. I think it's pretty spectacular that Bitcoin actually closed up today. After the way it was looking earlier, like, yeah, it looks good now. It's ending on a bull flag here, too. Came down and tapped the 20-day and the 1 hourly. But Bitcoin today, I mean, it's looking a lot better now than it was earlier. Earlier, we're down at 74,560. So even from the swing low of the day, even if it closed right here, that's a 2% reversal. That's a 1,500 point swing. It's like tempting us, making us think there's a Batman top, I feel like, when it still wants to grab liquidity at 78 or 79K, or 77.7K area. It's really a very interesting one today, ladies and gentlemen. It's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. But I love every minute of it. I just love every minute of it. I love every minute of it. I'm sure most of you do too. Where else are you going to get this kind of a throw? HBAR was down to like 0.0486 6 or 5 when we first started. And it's trended up here about 1.5% here since we started. Now it's up about 0.59% on the day. It was down to about almost down 1% on the day when we were on here, when we first started. I don't love it because I always pick the wrong direction. Well, Aiden, you know, it does. I mean, it happens. It takes a long time before you start to figure it out. But even if you pick the wrong direction, you got to understand when you're buying in spot, don't be married to a position if you're just trying to buy in a certain spot. If you're trying to, you know, there's other things, like a reason why I hold XRP, because I only buy it under a certain spot. But certain things I am trying to time the breakout after I've sold, and so that I can get the next move up. Oh, it's absolutely psychological warfare. I agree with that 100%. MC Prosperity. How do you get people out? Psychologically drain them. It's the truth. It is the truth. So we got about a minute and a half until the close here. And we're fighting. We're fighting, but Bitcoin is, you know, doing its thing. But we're not necessarily in the altcoins here reliant on Bitcoin. We just don't want Bitcoin to fall out. But remember, XRP made its most noise yesterday and today when Bitcoin was falling off. Just remember that. XRP was up to 58 cents as Bitcoin went down for that tap to 74,200 or whatever. 74,400. We're not relying on it, but we would like to see it not fall off. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. So it looks like XRP is going to close at about 55.50. Bitcoin's going to close at about 75,920, about 75,900 and some change, let's say. So that's where it looks like we're sitting today. XRP Bitcoin pairing. The XRP Bitcoin pairing is looking a little bullish here. It looks like it wants to swing back up. And if we get over that 730 sat level, that's the true testament here for XRP if we're going to have another move up. And it's pointing in the direction of we could have another move. And the cool thing is because we consolidated right towards the end here again, we could go into the next session firing. Like sometimes they hold back the assets because they don't want to give it all up in the one section. But now once we get into that 7 o'clock when this all resets here right now, I love when it does it. It's like, oh, we're green. Nope, red, red, red. But this is where once it resets, if they want to push it, you could definitely, if they like to do it after the flip, once we get in a directional movement one way or the other, because then it makes the market, I mean, would it have made more sense to push 5% there at the end or have a 24-hour candle here now if it does a quick 2 to 3% across the board? That could attract people. You know, when the market's green, it attracts a lot more people. So I'm going to be interested to see how this flips. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. If you're looking to trade crypto, look in the video description below under pinned comments or my homepage. And you can join on BITUNIX, lowest spot and leverage trading fees. It's just that simple. You can copy trade me, but adhere to the risk because if this one doesn't pan out, we're going to lose like $27. Some people said, $27. That's $27. That's the risk. Yesterday we were good. We made 21%. Today we're up a few percent, not much. But yeah, it all depends on where this ends up playing out to and if it actually plays out the way we're seeing it. Stay blessed, everybody. It was an honor and a